Good evening, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your fourth and final video blog of the night for Tuesday, September 16, 2014, 8:15 p.m. in Billerica, Massachusetts. The sun's is down, it's dark out, and it's supposed to be a cool night. Tomorrow's supposed to be in the mid-60s and stuff. And here's some news to report. The Atlanta Braves have just broke ground on a new ballpark in Cobb County, Georgia. The ballpark's going to be named SunTrust Stadium Park, and it's supposed to open in 2017. The Braves will vacate Turner Field then. And also, there are 6 potential bidders for the NBA's Atlanta Hawks. That's what the mayor of Atlanta says. And all of these 6 owners want to keep the team in Atlanta for the next 30 years. We'll see about that. I wonder if one of the bidders will come from Seattle and take the Hawks to Seattle. That's a possibility. You never know if that's going to happen or not, okay? And my fourth and final video blog of the day is about one of the most famous game show panelists of all time, Charles Nelson Reilly. Charles Nelson Reilly was famous for appearing on the classic 1970s game show Match Game as a panelist, and he was very funny on it. Plus, in addition, he had a career in acting, directing, and as a comedian. Charles Nelson Reilly was born and grew up in the Bronx, New York. He loved to entertain everybody. He had his own puppet theater when he was a child. In 1944, he survived the infamous Hartford Circus fire, which 169 people lost their lives from, and he was traumatized for that. For the rest of his life, Charles Nelson Reilly never sat in an audience for any performance, anything. And he was when he was growing up, he devoted a love for opera. And he went to Hart School of Music to be a voice major, but after a couple of years, his heart wasn't into it. He wanted to be part of the opera. And he started as an entertainment career as an opera performer. He appeared on the Metropolitan Opera. He directed a lot of opera productions throughout the United States back in the 1950s. Then he became an actor and comedian on many stage productions, and he appeared on several television series back in the 1960s when he first appeared regularly on television. He appeared as a guest on What's My Line in 1965. That was his first game show appearance. He also appeared on the panel of What's My Line during that year as well. And he appeared in commercials as well. He was in the Bic commercial playing a Bic pen banana. And also he was for Expedia. His first television series that he appeared on regularly was The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. He played Claymore Gregg. And he also was Charles, a regular on the Dean Martin Variety Show. And in the 1970s, and he appeared regularly on the Johnny Carson Show many times. In fact, Charles Nelson Reilly used to live blocks from where The Tonight Show used to be filmed at, in Burbank, California, and he usually was pinch hit for a guest who couldn't make it many times, so he appeared on there many times. And he also played the evil magician Hoodoo on Lidsville, produced by Sid and Marty Crawford. But his most famous role was in 1973 when Charles Nelson Reilly was on the Match Game 70s version, starring Gene Rabin as host, and he sat in the top row, third position, and he always would be sitting next to him was Brett Summers, and they used to like argue a lot and joke a lot about questions and stuff, and it was real funny. Charles Nelson Riley became one of the most popular game show panelists on television and stuff like that, and many people who look at actors or actresses who appear on game shows or game show hosts, I think they kind of typecast them because that's what they think of them, as just game show participants or hosts. So that could have had effect on Charles' career, but Charles thrived on the hosting, being on the match game. He thrived, and then he also, like, during the time on Match Game, he appeared on countless television series like McMillan Life, Here's Lucy, The Love Boat, Love American Style, and Rowan and Martin's Laughing. After Match Game ended in the 1980s, Charles Nelson Riley appeared on other game shows as well as Body Language, Password Plus, Super Password, Hollywood Squares. He even hosted his own game show in 1988, produced by Klein and Friends Productions, called Sweethearts, which was kind of like a to tell the truth version of Sweethearts. There was a panelist of 3 celebrities. They had to determine 3 couples and see which one was really sweethearts and a real life couple. It only lasted a year, but it was kind of very funny. I saw the show a few times. Charles Nelson Riley did pretty good as a game show host, but that Sweethearts did not get any good ratings, so it was canceled after a year. And also, Charles Nelson Riley started to direct many stage plays, and he directed many episodes of Evening Shade. He developed a close friendship with Burt Reynolds, who was the star of Evening Shade. In the 1990s, Charles Nelson Riley appeared on the revived version of Match Game on ABC for about a year, and he also appeared on several television shows around that time: The X-Files, The Drew Carey Show, and Family Man, among others. And Charles Nelson Riley, towards the late 90s, didn't wear his toupee anymore, so he either wore a hat or he was bald. And Charles Nelson Riley's career was winding down in the early 2000s. He was battling some health problems and stuff, and he appeared on the Game Show Week on Hollywood Squares, hosted by Tom Bergeron, in 2002 with Brett Summers. They shared a square together. Amazing. And in 2004, Charles Nelson Riley starred in the one-man play stage called The Life of Riley, which was critically acclaimed and stuff. And some of the stuff that Charles Nelson Riley said during the stage, that he had a aunt who once had a lobotomy, and one of his uncles' social life consisted of going to strangers' funerals. Amazing stuff. Charles Nelson Riley passed away in 2007 of pneumonia at the age of 76, and that weekend GSN Game Show Network, the weekend that he passed away, they showed a marathon of all Match Games he was in. And Charles Nelson Riley is probably one of the best people to appear on a game show, that did not affect his career as being typecast as a game show participant or host. Because if a host or a panelist appear on a game show, many times a lot of Hollywood producers and casting agents typecast them for them not to be in serious roles. But Charles Nelson Riley is one of those exceptions, and he's missed every day. And you could catch Charles Nelson Riley on Match Game weekdays at 8 and 8:30 p.m. on GSN. And well, that's about it for that. I will be back tomorrow for at least 3 to 6 more video blogs. The subjects tomorrow are the 10 greatest WWE champions of all time, and also week 3 predictions of the the NFL season. And the third video blog, it's going to be a surprise who's going to be my pick for the personality profile. And don't forget, I'm getting good feedback on these blogs, and if you want a shout out, I'll shout it out to you. If you want me to plug something, I'll plug it. And all the people I mentioned on there for the end of status, they'll get a video blog sooner or later. This is Rich signing off for the night. Good night, everybody.